Orioles fucking suck, yo.
All right, boy. All right. Thank you, Stavi. We are back on the X52 podcast. It is your series recap show Thursday, July 11th, 7-11 day, guys. Did you get your Slurpees? Your Dixie Cup Slurpees?
Completely forgot. It's crazy that you're the first thing to tell me that. My birthday is yesterday, and I think of it every year, every time, with my birthday being one day before. Haven't seen a single advertisement. I do like to dabble. If I pass a 7-Eleven, I'm going to go in there and get one. But no, I did not, and I'm sad about it now.
Yeah, it's too bad. Well, yeah, neither did I. I think we probably should have. It might have changed the vibes. I think the Baltimore Orioles probably should have. I think that might have changed the vibes for them, might have gotten things going a little bit for an offense and a team that is looking mentally and physically just dead. It looked like they completely slept walk through the series. And Eric, I feel like a fucking asshole because I don't know if you remember a couple days ago, we were on this same program. And I was like, you know what, this Cubs series, yeah, sure, I'll take it seriously, but I'm expecting the typical Arditti 2 out of 3 probably sweep situation. But even you and I said just look good in the series and feel good going into this Yankees series. I don't know how you can feel good after this one, guys. Starting off with game 1 here, we can just kind of get right into it. Cubs win that one 9-2. Dean Kramer coming off that big performance in Seattle. You and I were singing his praises, Eric, the other night. Those 4 innings, 5 hits, 3 walks, only throws 3 strikeouts. He looked bad, but story of the series overall, and we can get into it with this first game. Jordan Westburg really has the Orioles' only offensive highlight that I could think of through the series. And in that game, he hits a solo homer, and it came off the good vibes of Westy being named the All-Star and everything. And it's like, oh, is the offense starting to get going here? Are they, pulling the engine, turning the engine over? But no, Eric, looking back on that game 1, is that the most forgettable game of the year to you?
Yeah, I mean, Cubs score in the first 4 innings, and they just literally put it away very early. And yeah, again, I mean, you said it. We were really like highly touting. We were giving Dean all his props, and kind of really gassed him up. And I mean, he. I know the Mariners are bad. Like the Mariners' offense, we talked about it, how ugly and gross it is. He looked awesome, but maybe it was a little bit of that Mariners offense. But I don't know. He looked awful. He just didn't look confident. He didn't look himself out there. It was not the Dean that we saw in Seattle. Just awful game. Again, they were never in that game. Never a game. It got out of hand way too quick. And, I think it was Ian Happ. It was the bottom of the lineup. That's all it was, Morel had a home run. Ian Happ was somewhere down there. But the bottom of the lineup, Blues just got him, and they could not get out of it. So awful game to really start off an awful series.
Spenny, thoughts on game 1?
Michael Busch, man. Michael Busch went berserk. Yeah. Michael Busch went absolutely sicko mode on Dean Kramer. He went 4 for 6 in that one, hit a home run, scored 2 runs. Then Mastrobuoni also went 2 for 3 and looked phenomenal. I was lightly saying, you look on paper, Cubs lineup, bottom of their order, dog water. I mean, guys had 550 OPS, 650 OPS, I think 680 OPS, something like that, heading into the series. And that was not the case. The Cubs were delicately aggressive. They were determined aggressive. They wanted to get on it. Like you said, I mean, Dean didn't look great, didn't have control. His stuff wasn't, moving. Even not to skip to the next game, but I mean, even Corbin's cutter wasn't cutting yesterday for some reason. Something going on. Orioles with the Yankees coming to town clearly overlooked this opponent. Clearly are like desperate to get to the All-Star break, and it was pathetic performance. And I say that because now we've seen the other 2 games and pathetic, not dialed in. The bullpen has been a fucking mess and thoroughly getting shellacked by the Cubs, who, good for them, they were teetering. I mean, they still are somewhat teetering. They're 45 and 49 now. They're back into the picture, though. My thoughts heading into the series were like, oh, maybe you can break the Cubs back and then try and finesse one of those starters out of them. And then they end up seeing Tyon, Steele, and Amanga, whatever the hell his name is, and all 3 of them were phenomenal. I mean, in game 1, Tyon was painting corners left and right. And the Orioles just feel it was a really stark contrast starting in game 1. I mentioned Busch specifically, seeing them go with pitches and put the ball into play and hit the ball into grass. And it felt like they were much more in tune with their approach at the plate to be able to put the ball where defenders weren't and wait for pitches where they could do that. And like Jake said, I mean, Jordan Westburg hits 1 home run, so the Orioles don't score any runs. They didn't hit any home runs. They don't score any runs. It feels a lot like what we saw in late-ish May when the runners in scoring position issues, they weren't able to have rallies. They weren't able to string together long innings. So that is rearing its head again. We end up seeing 2 lefties come in. James McCann starts 2 of these 3 games. Mateo has been pathetic at the plate. Mullins hasn't done a damn thing in a week now. And the bottom of the lineup's been in disarray. I mean, Tony hasn't exactly been lighting the world on fire. Mountcastle does have a 2 or 3, but it just Ryan O'Hearn also has been in a big time slump very quietly too. Has not hit the ball in weeks. So a lot of guys getting cold right now. Maybe this is a little bit of the impact of them having to play so much baseball over that stretch and then getting a home game coming back. It's hot out, whatever. But the Cubs also are playing a lot of baseball and playing in the same heat. And, you know, you can do the whole Friday night lights. You know, they practice 110-degree heat. We practice 110-degree heat. So there's no excuses in Major League Baseball. And with the Yankees coming to town, they overlooked the Cubs, and the Cubs beat the brakes off of them about as badly as we've seen in the last couple of years here. Not even Cedric Mullins. I know you guys didn't watch the end of the game today. Cedric Mullins losing the ball in the lights by 25 feet twice.
And we talked about the one that he had sail over his head, which a tough catch, but he's made that many times.
They're kicking the ball around. I mean, the Cubs did get a little devil magic. The one yesterday where the ball, can't even remember who hit it, but hit second base and caroms out and all that stuff. You know, that ends up getting a rally for the Cubs going. So maybe a little bit of bad luck on their side, but just flat. And I'm going to look at the manager of the team. I'm going to look at Brandon Hyde and say, your team's flat. You trot out the same lineup 2 days in a row after you just got a flat performance against a lefty, and you get a better lefty. And what happens? You don't score any runs. So definition of insanity, all that stuff. Do the same thing twice. You know, they poop down their pants this series, and I'm going to shit on the Orioles here. They also trot Corbin Burns out so that he can start the All-Star game. What the fuck are you doing? What are you doing?
I've been meaning to harp on that.
Why is that? Why is that happening? I'll give.
And it's also like him being non-committal about it too. Like, well, I got two twins just born at home. Like, what are we doing? Like,
it's crazy that it's like a thing that's like he's going to pitch in the All-Star game. That's great. He had a chance to go against the Mariners, or he could have gone game 1 of this one and then gone against the Yankees. The Yankees are clearly their best guys. Clearly.
Yeah, and we'll get into Tony, like that's on the agenda, but like this isn't the first time. It's not going to be the last time Corbin Burns is going to be in an All-Star game, right?
100%.
Like, yeah, it's not a priority.
Maybe he does. Maybe it is a huge deal to him to start in the All-Star game for some reason. And if that's the case, God bless you, Brandon Hyde. I have no problem with you if that's the case. But if it's not, if it's not a personal mission of Corbin Burns to start in the All-Star game and pitch in the game, which is, I don't know. I'm not even going to get into how I feel about that. But what are we doing here? What are we doing here? I mean,
game one. I mean, just a couple more pests that we got to touch on in game 1 here. Ian Happ. I mean, this guy just like, I don't know like that many NL. Like I couldn't pick a lot of them out of the lineup. Ian Happ is one of them. He's just one of those guys that has been on the Cubs for several years now. And it's just one of those dudes. In that game, 2 runs, 2 hits, a walk, 3 runs batted in, a home run. He had that. I'm pretty sure game 1 he had that big grab out in left field. Just defensively looked great. He was an absolute pest. He was one of those guys. Mastrobuoni had another one from the plate there. Their offense just did everything the Orioles offense does when they're at their best, and that is so frustrating to watch as an opposing fan.
I was gonna say the Boris thing. It could be that too. I was also thinking, and not to go off your breakdown of that one, Jake, but again, maybe Burns being like, I just had my daughters. It would be neat to start the All-Star game 2 weeks after they're born or something. Which again, if that's the case, that's awesome.
We're just venting. We're just venting. We're not going to remember this or care about this in a month. But like, it is a little frustrating as a fan.
Yeah, but no. Again, going back to what you said, the Cubs. I mean, it seemed like every at bat, it was almost like 2014 Royals. It was like bloop and bloop and bloop, and then they would hit a home run, and then you're like, oh shit. And like the game tonight, double. It was just like they were just pecking you to death. But yeah, I mean, just nothing inspiring from any part of the team. The offense awful. What is it? 24 straight innings without scoring. 20 something. I did somewhere. Bullpen, like you said, is awful. They're in disarray. Nobody really knows where they are, what's going on right now. And then starters again. Burns was awesome. He did his thing. It's what he always does. Suarez kind of let it, unravel, and Kramer started off with a fucking stinker. So
yeah.
So
yeah.
Everything about the Orioles, the juju, the vibes, everything is bad and was bad this series.
Game 2 was kind of, we can get into that. That's kind of the one where they obviously had a chance with it only being 4-0. The Orioles have won games where the opposing team scores 4, probably a decent amount this season. I don't have it in front of me right now, but you said it. Corbin Burns goes his typical 6, 3 earned runs, but he looks solid overall, and there was some voodoo magic going on. But Orioles offense just non-existent in this game. I got the stat sheet pulled up right now, and it's just it looks like a big blank slate. Like, it just not a whole lot to really even talk about with that one, other than Burns, who, like we said, looked fantastic. But it's kind of like, what are we doing here? I mean, yeah, Gunnar, 1 hit, Adley, a walk, 3 hits from Mountie in that one, which we'll certainly forget about that in a while. That was nice to see, but it didn't amount to anything because they couldn't get anything else going anywhere else. So yeah, just another weird one there. And James McCann's bat just keeps finding a way to be inserted into these lineups, and it's really not working, as we saw a comment there earlier.
I'm looking at the Orioles on Wednesday in the 4-0 loss. In the 8th inning, Anthony Santander leads off with a single, doesn't score. 7th inning, it didn't happen. 6th inning, Ryan Mountcastle singles on a line drive to Cody Bellinger, doesn't score. In the in the 2nd inning, Austin Hayes doubles, doesn't even get moved to third base. So you had 3 leadoff hits, only 1 of them advanced, and none of them scored. They are reverting back to that it was vibes, and they stranded 9 runners, didn't score a run with 3 leadoff hits. They are not able to be in the flow of the game or of the flow of the pitcher and hit the ball to grass right now. We're watching the Cubs, in contrast, hit to the gaps, hitting it against where defenders are lined up, hitting it into the center field gap. There's a double today. Seiya Suzuki consistently is putting the ball where defenders are not. There's no controlled hits. The guys I think of that typically do that, Adley, maybe a little bit of Gunnar. You see O'Hearn able to do that a little bit. Westy definitely can hit the ball over the park. Not happening in this series, not happening in that game. It feels like they are very bravo macho in their approach. I am going to hit what I am going to hit. I want to pull the ball. I'm going to pull the ball. It feels very aggressive in their approach. And I think that they need to take a step back from that right now. And in order to have some of these rallies when the ball is not dropping your way, you need to kind of get into the flow, maybe drop your plan at the plate a little bit more and try and get into that flow state that the pitcher's in and, hit the ball to fucking grass. Instead of yesterday, Baltimore struck twice yesterday. Adley had a 19 out of 30. Westy hits a double that was a 29 out of 30. So, they're throwing lefties at you. You're not able to hit a lot of home runs. The ball is not flying out for whatever reason. It just feels like I'm not seeing a lot of hard contact put into play. There's not a bunch of gobbles of it's not like the infielders are eating them alive when off 103 off the bat or anything like that on hard hit ground balls. But I don't know. And then this is stupid, and I'll regret saying it maybe in a week, but like Gunnar's practicing the home run derby before the game today.
Yeah. But
good for you. Go win that. That'd be great. Fans would love it. All the kids will love it. But let's put some fucking balls in play, man. Let's lock in.
Let's maybe honestly, let's maybe put some of that into practice in the game. Let's maybe hit a home run here, Gunnar. That's kind of your whole deal, my guy. Come on, let's make it happen. But you mentioned the Baltimore striking. This series kind of felt like that. What do you call it? Like the Occam's razor or whatever whatever law it is, Murphy's Law. It felt like a Murphy's Law series in some ways, and I think it was. But it's also when that happens, when you're slumping and playing poorly, and when you're an offensive dependent team, especially with the way this pitching staff is pitching right now, and those two things combine, you get what I think is probably the worst series of the year. And Game 2 kind of felt like a nadir of that. It just, obviously it wasn't the worst score line, but that was tough. It felt like those two things kind of smashing together and creating a cauldron of shit, for lack of a better word.
And you guys talked about the guys with runners in scoring position and all that, those numbers and stats. Last night, 0 for 11. Today was, I I got to even look up the box score. But Hyde's comments last night, I thought his comments were real. That's kind of the first time that he's kind of let it. He said it like individually about Aiken and some of the other pitchers when they're bad. Like, we have to locate a fastball. You have to. Like, he's kind of been stern about that. Like last night, I think he said, at times we're getting a little too big and trying to get the big hit. I think it's going to turn around from us. We've just got to relax a little bit. Like, I like that it's not like we're just hitting into tough, like it wasn't a cliche cookie cutter answer. I kind of like how he's acknowledging, like, yes, we know, like there's something going on right now and it's bad. So I at least like him for that. I didn't, Spenny, you touched on it, but the lineup thing, it shouldn't drive me crazy. And it does. Like,
it doesn't usually, and for good reason, because like some people probably make too much of it. But
yeah.
When you have a series like this, it really stands out. And especially when you have a guy like Kjerstad, who it feels like every time he's at the plate, he's doing something. He had a hit, maybe multiple hits in the series. Like whenever he gets his number called upon, it seems like he's, maybe he's the one that's really doing something. Maybe it's not James McCann. Every time Heston Kjerstad touches the ball, you got to pry that bat from his cold, dead hands, and he's doing something. But for whatever reason, and, it could be trade bait, as some people have speculated, could be this or that. Don't want to overexpose him. But it's just tough right now. It seems like you got to shake some things up, and we'll get to that after we go through the games. But I don't know. It's just something is broken, and Game 2 was emblematic of that. Anything else on Game 2 from you, Spenny?
It was my birthday, and it stunk, and I was going to go to the game, and I'm glad I didn't go. Wasted a Corbin Burns start. Doesn't feel good. Has happened a couple times lately, and I am just dissatisfied with the lack of emotion. I want to see a little bit more hurt or anger or just something out of Hyde, out of anyone. Again, my theory is that Hyde has like high blood pressure right now and like can't flip out or he'll die or something. I mean, guy's been pretty stoic this entire season, which, hey, good for you for chilling. But like, baseball very much is an emotional sport when you have 162 of these things to play. Plus, if the Orioles make the playoffs, which they are a 99.8% lock according to the analytics, but I want to see some fucking hurt. Like, I want to see them get pissed off. This team started to show a little bit of edge, and I love that the Yankees are coming to town because they're going to piss you off. They are going to make you mad, and I think that's exactly what the Orioles need. They're sleepwalking right now. Honestly, the A's very easily could have won that series, and two losing teams, two middling teams you fumble around with, you putz around with, and then you have the Yankees coming, and that's going to determine who goes into the break feeling fucking good and like the king and strong. And the Yankees are floundering just as much. So it's like there's the old adage of the movable object meets the unstoppable force. It's like the dead fish meets like the crying grandmother. Like
it's the stoppable force meets the movable object. This is an object that is movable. You can pick it up. You can move it across the room. And this is a force that you can stop.
It's a feather versus a popsicle stick. Like there's nothing going on between these two. The Sox are climbing back into it. So both rotations have stunk. Both bullpens have stunk. Both lineups have been anemic, to say the least, over the last little bit here. So are we overreacting? Maybe, but I don't know. It's tough when you watch these teams every single day. That's the difference between baseball and everything else. When you watch it every single day and you watch a series like this Cubs series, in the third game, you're watching Cedric Mullins lose 2 balls in the lights when they're getting fucking pummeled, and it's going to pull on your blood pressure. So I feel Brandon.
You can lose games in baseball. You can lose series in baseball. You can get swept. And like when you have talent like this, the cream of the crop always rises, and it's going to be fine long term. But when it is just so aesthetically displeasing, and I'll use the term anemic, that's what it felt like, just absolutely no movement, just complete lack of juice, that's when it's just really frustrating. And I think as fans, we are fair to vent about that. We're not sitting up in the press box. Eric tries to climb into it some nights. He's going around shaking hands, kissing babies, just, doing the Arditti tour, take my picture with 1 million people, all that stuff. But we're not. Ultimately, we're fans. We're fanalists. And that's just how it is.
Yeah. No, I mean, I tweeted it. I said, it's the last 5 days, 6 days. It seems like the Orioles are the worst team in baseball. They're not. We know they're not. They're going to go to the playoffs. They're going to win the division. Like they will call up Kobe Mayo. They will make trades. They will have new pitchers. Like that'll all be fine down the road. But right now, this fucking stinks. And again, this is somebody said, well, we're lucky that we're only 2 ahead of the Yankees. It's like the Yankees have been this for a month. So imagine that the Orioles have had this for a week, maybe a little longer lingering, but like it will be okay. It will turn around. And like, this isn't my like rah-rah speech, but it's, this is a bad 3 days, a bad week. Like, they'll bounce back. They will be okay. Moves will be made. Like, they need this restart. They need this refresh. Like, this is, sometimes your PlayStation, you just need like a nice hard refresh. You got to, just shut it down and let it sit for a minute. And that's what the Orioles are going to do. Again, it does kind of suck that they're like slowly getting added back, being like, all right, now you're going to play in the All-Star game. And it's 2 more days off your feet that you could have had or whatever. But yeah, again, they'll be fine. It's been frustrating to watch. It's I have a feeling our attitudes are going to change on Monday when we're watching Gunnar in the Derby and we're all like jacked up and ripping our shirts off at Jimmy's and shit. But yeah, right now it sucks. And Spenny, you nailed it. I'm very happy. Like, it's not like the Diamondbacks or someone like I don't know. The White Sox are coming into town this week. I like that it's the Yankees. I like that it's going to be big crowds. Like, I like that. Hell, they may throw a Gunnar again. I kind of want it. And I want Gunnar to spike his bat, and I want him to, take a walk out to the mound if he needs to. And I want him to get the guys fucking going. Like, somebody said earlier, like, I would love a team meeting. And I was like, I would love a helmet smash. I would love someone taking a bat to a Gatorade cooler. I was going to say, light the dong bong on fire, do something.
Or do the thing that Gunnar did when he scored in the ALDS, and he's just, absolutely losing his shit. Like, make a positive play, play and show positive emotions, celebrate with your teammates, do all that stuff. Like, it seems hokey. It seems like kind of high school sports type stuff. But that stuff really is important, and it carries over. And I think especially for a young, tight knit kind of group of guys like this, I feel like, they kind of ride each other's wave a lot of the time.
Half the guys are supposed to be in biology 201 right now. So
yeah, little Jackie's at Blockbuster with his grandmother right now, picking out a movie to watch for the upcoming weekend. But wow, what a dated reference. I can see the Blockbuster carpets right now. I mean, that really took me back. Game 3. Yeah, I can smell the popcorn. Game 3 tonight. It wound up being 9-0. I think Suarez goes 5, 6 hits, 4 runs. Bullpen doesn't do any better. They just completely gives them up. And again, to keep harping on it, offense just remained dead in this one. Painful stuff to watch. It's
painful. Away from them again. It was death by paper cuts. And I mean, Suarez was good the first couple innings, and then it was that the one inning just double. And that's when I turned it off, and I was like, I'm not letting this ruin my night. I just got my haircut. Like, I'm going to go get in the shower and not fucking watch Seize or whatever, Suzuki, have 35 RBIs this series. So I also said, I tweeted it, but the MLB app is the most annoying app in the world when your team is getting dog walked. Oh my God. I'm like yelling. I'm like, yeah, I fucking know, dude. Like, I get it. Like, those words came out of my mouth to my phone tonight. Like, yeah, I know. Yeah, like it's awful. So, and someone nailed it too. They were like, when you're winning, it's like the slowest updating app in the world, but when you're losing, it's like right on you like that.
The cool thing about it is when you watch games like I do, because Oh yeah. Sometimes maybe you're not all the way caught up, and it's like being in the electric chair. You just get that. You just get a stake driven through your heart, and then you have to watch it happen. You have to watch your own death.
Yeah. I've been. We have a esteemed colleague Taylor Smythe in the chat here. The app sucks.
This guy knows apps too. Let me tell you that much.
The Masson app. I've said so many times, beggars can't be choosers, and I'm just happy that little old Masson has an app. Speaking of apps, and I can't take it anymore. Not being able to use the mini player is archaic. It is cruel and unusual torture. If you're trying to use the Masson app on your phone, you can't exit out. You have to go watch a FanDuel commercial, the same FanDuel commercial again, while we're complaining about stuff.
Eric, do you remember a couple summers ago when the Carabas commercial would play every single break, and we got a good kick out of that?
Over and over. Yeah.
Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. We had some other topics again too. I mean, this game, the Orioles didn't have 2 base runners in any inning. They hit a couple doubles. No one moved them over. I don't know what to say. Justin Steele's birthday. Happy birthday, Justin Steele. You pitched great. Thank you. You're on my fantasy team. I'll take that, I guess. But
a lot of birthday talk tonight.
A lot of birthday talk. Me and Justin Steele.
My dad's birthday tomorrow. We're going to the game.
There's a birthday train going. Who's the 13th?
Yeah, taking him out for a little. Also, Jessica Luke's birthday on the 9th.
Oh,
So,
but then we've got a train going. We got to find a 13th party.
My lovely sister.
But yeah, I mean, it was just a nice little. It was like you think you pour yourself a glass of whiskey as a nightcap to this series, and it was actually like arsenic. I mean, it just couldn't have been more lifeless, couldn't have been more helpless. Big Bert Suarez looked fine. He just got shelled a little bit, or after he got to like 80 pitches, that's what he gives you. He'll give you 2 to 5 runs. Whatever you get, you get. He has like a 2.86 ERA now. He's been fine. He's a fine five-starter.
He's a low floor guy that you found off the scrap heap, and he has performed very admirably this year. And that shouldn't get lost in a game like tonight and a series like this where the offense just is not showing up and doing what they need to do.
They're not, and I don't know. There's just no ability to put the ball in play consistently into danger areas or to where grass is or defenders are not. Not a lot of hard contact either. Man, I don't even know what to say otherwise about this game. We have some other things to talk about. There's some other topics we wanted to dive into aside.
Yeah, I guess speaking of offense, Eric, you and I, we maybe got a little carried away with a Twitter rumor going around about a certain big, strong guy by the name of Kobe Mayo. There were some rumors percolating, the smoke was whirling up into the sky, the night sky. Is it time for Kobe Mayo to be called up? It sounded like they were mulling it over. It sounds like they really love his bat. They've been messing around with him a lot. They've been playing him at first base, I think, more than third lately. There's been speculation about what that means for Mountie, and I don't even know if we need to get into that because I don't think it really matters where he plays defensively. With the way this offense is playing right now, I mean, are you guys just all aboard the Kobe Mayo train? Because I kind of feel like I am at this point. Like maybe if you have to wait till the break, fine. You don't want to do it for the Yankee series, whatever. But Kjerstad gave you a spark. This guy, I feel like his upside is just as high, if not higher.
So, I mean, I want him up. I am in favor of big, strong men hitting very far home runs. It was poetic justice last night after the Orioles get their dicks kicked in.
Yelling me now for the first time.
After the Orioles are, getting just embarrassed again. And like the game ends and it's like final 4-0. Oh, Kobe Mayo just hit a 438-foot home run into the bushes.
That was poetic.
Center field in whatever ballpark. It's like, yeah, of course he did. I'm yelling at my phone again. Of course he did. Like, of course. But the more I think about it, and some people have talked about it on Twitter too, I think they're going to do the Gunner thing with him in 2022. I think they're going to keep him down till the end of August, early September, call him up. He'll maintain his rookie, status for 2025. He can win that pick back. He can get it back. You can have his bat in the playoffs for the last month and see where he fits. And I think that's what they're going to do. I think they're going to hold on to Ramon as long as they can because he can play multiple positions. That's why, everyone's like, why isn't he up? You don't have to agree with it. I don't. Ramon Urias is on this team because of his defensive ability, and he can play at second. Not very good, but he can play there. He can play at third. Kobe Mayo, the one thing about him is his glove, and they don't feel comfortable with him at third. And like the people being like, just put him at first. It's not like softball. You don't just put a guy at first and pray that he makes a catch. That will not fly in baseball. Like it's
you want to talk about poetry. I mean, like it's totally anecdotal, but if you want to talk about poetry, a nice little error for Ramon in the series as this discourse was just swirling up. So that was just like sharks to red meat on that one. They were just chumming the waters, and Uncle Tony, the heat is on within the fan base, if not the front office, or Uncle Ramon. Excuse me.
Again, and I get it. Like I get why the fans want him. I want him up, but like they're not just gonna. It's not the show. It's not MLB The Show. You're not just gonna DFA Ramon because you want Kobe Mayo's bat to DH against lefties. Like it sucks, but I think that's what they're going to do with him. And again, probably the same thing with Jackson too, because he'll keep his rookie status. I believe.
I don't know if we're going to see him again this year on the major. He's not even playing defense right now. Like he's still really working his way back here. We might have seen the last of little Jackie Holiday in an Orioles uniform for 2024.
And maybe that's fine. Again, I mean, they're going to run it back with him next year. You'll think that he has an inside track because again, Mateo has, some people called it. He turned back into a pumpkin. He's May through September Mateo that we saw last year. So somebody was like, he must have started his calendar a couple months late and like realized that he got
any comments on that?
Mi hermano está helado. Muy rápido. I mean, he's just a super utility player, man. He can play some center field for you. He can play some second. I don't know. We talk about Mayo. I think Norby is probably the most viable bat that isn't a big. I mean, Mateo's a good second baseman, but Norby's fine there. I think Norby's already been up, already looked smooth, already looked ready. I just think that it is. I think that we as fans, and especially of the Orioles that have had so many top prospects, vastly overrate the production or the consistency that rookie players are capable of. We have seen Joe Adell of the Angels or Colton Cowser of the Orioles. They come up, Jackson Holiday. They come up. It is not the same. It's different. There's pressure. The players are just better that they have to hit balls against. So we see Kjerstad. Well, let's think about Kjerstad. Kjerstad is like 30 years old. He's had 1,500 at-bats in Norfolk. He was a top 5 pick. He played all the way through college at an SEC school. He had a setback that probably took a lot for him to get over. He couldn't there's nowhere else for Kjerstad to be. Mayo, I don't know. I mean, he's slashed well. Hey, he could come up and be a spark. Hey, he could also come up and fucking suck. So I don't know. I don't know there's any guarantee. We just want it's the grass is greener. The big bat down there could come up and do this. And I don't know. I have no guarantee of that. I have seen Connor Norby come up a little bit and was able to put the ball in play. And I think he would be a more productive hitter. I think he profiles better. And I think we already got enough of it and saw enough of it. And he looked the part and handled the pressure and put the ball in play. So to say 1,000 words in 5 seconds, but I don't know any of those things. I don't know. The rookies, yes, they hopefully pan out. I'm also watching Colton Cowser, who is a very highly developed prospect, absolutely struggle just to tread water right now. I mean, the guy has no control over his own domain in the box. Is that what Mayo's going to look like? Or is he going to be a beast? Or is he going to be somewhere in between? I would probably wager somewhere in between. Maybe he hits 240 and has some pop and over, the next 80 games could hit, 12 home runs. That would be probably an ideal outcome, that he hits about 240, 250 and has pop. He doesn't have a glove. He hasn't come up before. There is a much lower floor of what he could do. So, we can do all the ifs and buts and peanuts and nuts, but I don't know. I don't think a rookie is an answer to anything other than just excitement for fans. I don't think any rookie is the savior. I think that right now, Gunnar, Adley, O'Hearn, Santander, Westy need to be more productive. They need to stop trotting out James McCann. Adley needs to catch more in the second half, which I would assume is probably their plan. So we talk about the rookies. I think that the answers lie in what already is in Baltimore. And again, if I had to pick somebody to make an impact right now, it's going to be Norby. It's going to be Norby to come up, play second base.
How do you feel about?
I would put minus 240. Actually, I might put minus. If I'm setting the line, I'm going to minus 260. Connor Norby is not a Baltimore in the Orioles organization when the clock strikes August. So
I'd do minus 250 for that.
Yeah, somewhere right in between there. Yeah. So, it's easy to say Mayo. It's an easy thing. And Eric, I know I compare stuff to Madden a lot. You compare it to the show a lot. It's the same thing. It's bring the rookie up. He's got fucking 91 power.
On that point, how do you guys feel about my favorite people who have been, popping off a little bit lately? And I really, truly do love this, where it's the Orioles need to acquire 2 starters and a reliever at the deadline. They need to get this pick. How do you feel about adding a veteran bat into that equation? Because
they need a right-handed bat. I think they do.
Right-handed outfielder.
Yes. And Hayes has been good. Hayes has been very good. I look his numbers the last 30 days.
Just stinks against lefties, so he's a half, or excuse me, against righties, so he's a half right-handed bat.
Yeah, and again, the name Kevin Pillar, that's a name that's been talked about. He's been an Oriole killer for, it seems 13, 14 years. He's always making a big catch or hitting a home run against them. That's a guy whose name has been out there. Jorge Soler, who again is that's just if you want a big bopper, not that I think they're going to get him. He strikes out a lot. Again, I had him on my fantasy team. He strikes out a lot. He hits a lot of home runs, but he's not. Doesn't really mesh with this lineup, it seems like. But again, a guy like Kevin Pillar, that could be, I don't know his splits. I don't know his numbers, but, if he's better against righties, if he's a more complete hitter than Austin Hayes. What
about our guy Lubov? Throw a little Jackie in there,
I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to excite people last night. I was playing the show, and I traded Austin Hayes and John Means straight up for Garrett Crochet. So just saying.
Crochet. We were talking about Crochet weeks ago at this point. I'm still all over that,
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, innings pitched are too high. Like, he's too physical. Like,
through 12 innings last year. That's the thing. 12.
Yeah. I get it. I totally get it. But it's like, it's about maximizing upside, right? You want to get a guy for what you think he can be rather than what he's done.
I don't know. I just feel like at this point, like it's out. The Orioles need to translate hitting prospects into viable championship level pitching. But you're not going to trade a Basayo. You're not going to trade a Mayo. You're not going to trade Jackson unless every single box is checked. And the scariest part is that every box can be checked. They could let's say hypothetically Skubal. Skubal's probably the cream, the bell of the ball, right? That's the best,
one.
maybe available pitcher. Maybe available. Realistic to say the Orioles could acquire Skubal. Maybe they do trade a Holiday. Maybe they do trade a Mayo, Basayo for him. 2.5 years of control. Is he going to be sustainable? Does he project to be sustainable? Does he project to stay healthy for that entire time? If you're going to trade major assets, you can't miss. It can't miss. So I don't know. They're going to make a move. I could see it being Anderson from the Angels. I could see it being a Flaherty plus a little bit more than the Flaherty last year. It could be Jack Flaherty himself. Probably not. They don't love each other, but
it could be Uncle Kyle.
It could, sure, maybe. They could use multiple. They definitely need bullpen help. They definitely do need a starter. And they're at a point. What are all the rumors from Nightingale? And all the rumors are that they are looking at multiple years of control as what they are seeking. And that's what they need for the long term. It's what they need for the short term. So if that's the case, then they're willing to part with those higher level prospects, but they're just not going. They have to do it at some point, but they're not going to do it just for the sake of doing it. Like you can't miss. You cannot miss by trade. You can't trade Kjerstad and have a bum or someone who tears their UCL. And the second part, they probably know more about what's more likely with injuries and stuff, but that's still a crapshoot. So
can you imagine if, and I know this was reported to be, kind of fictional, but can you imagine if they had, before the season that he's had, if they had wound up swinging something for Jared Jones? Like somebody put that out there with the Holiday, like they talked to, and like maybe it's totally fictional. Maybe it was just kind of a very casual say this, say that, and then, hang up the phone. But like, my God, that would have been amazing.
I think somebody came out and they were like, no, this like 100% did not happen. It was like a legit.
Multiple national reporters said, and again, we get our whispers in the wind here and there of things that happen and don't happen, Ravens, Orioles, whatever. I don't know. Like national reporters come out and say it didn't happen.
Can I have my fun sports providence? Can you?
But I don't know. It's the things that are true. I feel like that we've heard about, and it's like, hey, don't talk about this, things like that. Not that we get that much, but shit will worry about it. I don't know. Yeah. They maybe did have a discussion. And the other part of that is that maybe they were like, all right, we'll trade us Jones and also give us this pitcher who's the 10th best prospect in the Pirates organization and someone else. And we'll give you Austin Hayes and this, that, and the other. Maybe it was more of like a big ass wide deal than it looked. So I don't know. People say it's fake. People say it's not. We've seen people say things are fake, and the national reporters come out and confirm with their sources. Of course, Elias's camp is going to say if it was fake or not, it was fake. Like you can ask somebody in the Orioles organization, like that never happened. We love Jackson. Why would they say anything? Yeah, we're trying to sell that kid. Like why would they do that? So
honestly, it could be the Pirates cabal trying to pump themselves up. Hey, we turned this down, and now look at us.
Yeah, exactly. Who knows? Any of that would be very feasible in my mind.
I'll say, so again, my cousins live in Pittsburgh, and they were like, this is like a known person who like takes something and will twist it like the most insane way. And they were like, they're known for like way over exaggerating and getting a lot of stuff wrong. So that's when I was like, all right.
We don't have anyone like that here.
No, God, no. I mean, I couldn't imagine anyone, but
no,
yeah.
There's no one like that in the local media around the Baltimore area.
No, but
safe to say.
No, I don't believe that for a second. That would have been talked about. That would have been mentioned. That would have gotten out somehow. Not from DK Pittsburgh sports, like
100%. We talked about it a little bit to switch gears. Anthony Santander, Tony Taters, named to the All-Star team. Good for him. He deserved it upon initial blow. The thing I feel like the reason he doesn't make it is because I think that the notions by the coaches, the commissioner's office, and the fans is very much determined early on is determined early on by the May performance and April performance. So for Tony to have a big June, I think it's like it's already too late. Like halfway through June, you're like, oh shit, now Tony's climbing up there. But I get him not making it initially. Should he have made it? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're also tracking him more than anyone else is. But those late climbs, I feel like can escape. Contract year for him, massive to be an all-star in a contract year. Massive to be putting the power output that he is and playing a really good right field. We've sang the praises of Dr. Potatoes many times on this show. We love him to death. We hope that the Orioles retain him. Can't be understated how much he can do when he is on, and when he's not on, it's not the end of the world. I mean, he's not your two hitter. He's not your. I mean, sometimes he hits three, but
I think we need you.
He's not your primary or secondary expected bat.
I think we need you working on that contract too. I mean, you were throwing out some really.
I pay the shit out of Tony.
Really delectable numbers the other night there. That would have been great. But yeah, no, I mean it's everything for a guy like that. I mean, we talked about it a couple weeks ago with Rule 5 draft pick, kind of right in the doldrums there, right as the dark times were about to come on there back in 2016, a Duquette guy. And he's just one of these guys, O'Hearn, another example that they've helped rebuild his career, but all the credit obviously goes to him. Tremendous individual. It seems just, he on a personal level, he seems like a great guy, a great locker room guy. Culturally, he's, you wouldn't think he would fit in well with the Chads and Brads and ads of that nature, but it seems like he fits in super well with these guys. He's a little bit old. He's not old by any stretch, but he's a little bit older than them, but he's just got kind of a fun sort of affable energy about him. Weathered those dark times really well with guys like Austin Hayes and Cedric Mullins. And he's come out the other side of it looking like a shiny, squeaky clean potato. And yeah, I mean, this month of June, my God, it's been incredible. It probably about as fun as, any Chris Davis month during the times that he was having it. You compare it maybe a little bit to a Trumbo, a guy who's not like, he's not the first guy that you mentioned, but it's like, oh yeah, that guy, like he can really mash it. So yeah, I mean, just been an incredibly fun month of June. It's been a good season for him overall. He certainly deserved it, I think. And really nice to see a guy like this getting recognition. So shout out to Tony Taters.
The Clunkle Tony.
Great point by Ben Grodzik. Arguably the greatest Rule 5 pick ever.
After Joey Rickard.
Very true. Very true.
Joey
any
Rickard
pitchers that come to mind from our good friend Voss here? Any pitchers that come to mind off the top of the dome that you think are probable to get moved and you think would slot in very well?
It depends.
I think Fetty. I think Eric Fetty. I think he's perfect.
I agree with that very much so. Cheap and veteran and no injury concern as of now, has pitched a lot of innings, is capable of that kind of volume. I think that's a very nice move that wouldn't cost a ton. Definitely. Anderson off the Angels is having a really nice year. Everything tracks there. We saw, for instance, and something that's super interesting is Savale gets moved. And I saw earlier, I'm going to try to recite it the best to my ability, but essentially didn't throw his four-seam fastball, which was his primary pitch so far this year, once today. Increased his sweeper usage by like 25%. The Brewers are having a completely different idea for what Savale is going to do for them. And I think those are the things that are tough for us to gauge. And we just look at box score stats or Baseball Savant or whatever it may be and be like, oh, this guy's good. Oh, this guy's not good. So it's always tough. And again, still, we talked about Albert Suarez. I will give Elias in the pitching lab definitely the benefit of the doubt when it comes to their vision for bringing guys in. I mean, they brought in Austin Voth as the worst pitcher in baseball, turned him into something, that was viable for a solid period of time in 2022. So both of those are not huge moves. Definitely guys that will be available. We talked about Crochet. We talked about him 1,000 times. He's scary for many reasons. Depends
some people throwing Scherzer around too. I don't know what the Rangers are going to do.
Scherzer already came out and said, I will not waive my no trade clause.
Oh yeah, I did see that. Yeah, you're right.
Rangers have also won 5 straight. And it's pathetic. If you're in that division, the Mariners can't score any runs. The Astros are like weird. And you just won the World Series. There's no reason for them to sell. I think it would be such a bitch-made move for them to go sell after a World Series. That would be pathetic when they're right.
That would be, you know what that would be? That would be borrowing the competitive integrity of the teams that you were playing.
Buster.
Shout out to Uncle Bus. So again, those guys. I mean, Scooble. There's some names. There's some things, but it's tough. I don't know. There's just not. We talk about these things, and pitching, having a controllable, talented, young enough pitcher is the most valuable thing in baseball. They short of Aaron Judge maybe, things like that, but like having that is Max. I think of like Max Fried. He's not the best, but he's a good, consistent young pitcher. No one's ever going to part with someone like that. No one. Why would you? If you think you're 2 years out and you have 3 years of control, why would you part with that? You're going to have to blow that team away with your offer.
Elias's big move in Houston was Verlander, who was one of those veterans. He wasn't one of those and Cole too. So that's another, but that's, free agent market, right? So
they traded for Cole.
Yeah, they traded for Cole. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And then I think they traded for Greinke too. Maybe they signed him. I think maybe they signed Greinke, but he traded for Cole and Verlander, two absolute horses.
I'm mixing with my Uncle Mike mythology. I'm mixing it all together.
And I would say the only person that qualifies as that is Scooble. Scooble has been ascending. He's young. He's very, 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 very good. Why should the Cubs sell? You're going to have to blow them away. You're going to have to overcompensate them for that, because it's almost like a quarterback. It's like an ace is. They're called an ace. Like that. Why would I trade an ace? it's you got to blow them away. So I don't know. It's tough. So that's why I think a Fetty is a very realistic, practical thing. He's not an ace. He's pitched well. He's a veteran. Innings, those kinds of guys. I think all.
And you know what you do when you have an ace? You double down. And the Orioles do have an ace. So maybe it's time to double down.
I mean, Grayson should be an ace next year. I mean, he's
awesome.
When you look at Scooble, when you look at that ascent, guys are not always just coming in and they're, Burns is a rare one. He came in, started, and pretty much was immediately fantastic. When you look at Scooble, his FIP, his advanced metrics, everything is getting better and better each year consistently. Grayson is a lot better this year than he was last year, and he's going to be a lot better next year too. So there's that, but there's also just that one. There's just that one. That's your whole kit and caboodle is Grayson Rodriguez next year. So that's why.
By the way, my guy Voss in the comments, a total non sequitur to completely derail things, but I saw that he purchased Bellisimo's in Finksburg, him and his partner taking a controlling interest in a place that was near and dear to my heart. I'm sure he's going to do a great job with it. So shout out to you, buddy.
Shout out to Bellisimo's. I've eaten there before, Voss. I didn't know you did that. That's awesome.
Cheesesteaks, baby.
Oh, fuck. Ben Rice just. I'm watching the Yankees game.
That kid is a proper ass player, by the way. When he got called up, oh my God, he was pesky. He's going to be so annoying.
I hate this guy. I hate Pete Fairbanks more, you dork. Where's it? The Screwball thing. This is another thing people aren't mentioning. I don't think the Tigers will trade him. I don't, because like Spenny said, why would you? Tigers think they're rebuilt. They think they're on like an Orioles kind of progression.
They got pieces for sure. Riley Green out there is an awesome player. Yeah, they have a good farm system.
Yeah, but that's why they're not going to trade them. That would have been like the Orioles trading Grayson after, like last year. It's like, what? No, nothing makes sense. It's not, but nothing makes sense. But he's also had Tommy John, and he had a major shoulder surgery. Mike Elias, I guarantee you, was like, I'm not touching that. I'm not trading anything close to a Basayo.
He still doesn't qualify as a true horse because of that.
No. But I don't know. Again, this notion of like we know it. The Orioles need pitching, like you said. They need to get two starters and a reliever. Like the fact that people are like think that it's this like it's just the Orioles. On MLB Network today, there was a conversation. Do the Dodgers have enough pitching? Nobody has enough pitching. That's the thing. Like there's no one. Grayson and Corbin 1 and 2 really out as you in baseball. They are up there with some of the best of the best, with the Skeens and the Jones. Jones is hurt now. Skeens is maybe the best pitcher on the planet right now. Like, but that's the thing. It's like
they need to find someone slightly better than Dean to be their third pitcher.
Yes, 100%. But like, the need, like they need everybody. Everybody needs pitching, and that's why I would have preferred that right when the Bradish thing happened, you go out and you attack, because now you're getting along. Glasnow's hurt now. Oh, guess who's going to be looking for a starting pitcher? Fantastic. Right, yeah. If Eric Fetty ends up on the Dodgers,
the longer you wait, the longer you wait, the longer the price of the brick is going up.
Yeah, price of the brick is going up. Like again, I would have gone out immediately and tried to get Fetty, because that's when the White Sox losing 14 games in a row, and are they going to move? Oh my God. The manager said, what did he say? What did Ozzie say? It was trouble everywhere. Go out and make the move. Then I think it would have, you get ahead of all this shit, because guys are just going to keep getting injured. Like, no one's coming back. Like, I also hear someone who's coming back. Eduardo Rodriguez. I didn't realize that he hadn't played all year. I looked that up last night. Again, a disaster averted there. But as the Yankees, they have 2 guys on 3-2, and Glaber.
Get a little Francesa on us here.
Catch. Holy shit. And then he dropped it. Oh my God. Did he catch that? Wait till you see this catch.
Tim Malarkey.
This may be chaos. All right. They called him out. All right, good. This is going to be crazy on Twitter when you see that. Holy shit. But so, thanks, all right, Tim. Orioles are up 2. All right. So now the Orioles are officially up 2 games going into a must-win series against the Yankees. So now you know what you have to do. You win 2 out of 3. If they win 2 out of 3 and they go into the break up 4 games, we'll be fucking beating our chest, being like, we're back, baby. This is it. We got it. Especially how do we feel
about the series over? Let's just get into it.
It's tough without Burnsy, but hey, get that all started.
By the way, we can't get out of here without talking about Corbin Burns just shuffling and skedaddling all over the place in that appearance. He looked limber, he looked big, he looked strong, but he was also limber, had some of the moves going on, slipping and sliding around, making that throw to first. I mean, I tweeted that he should get paid time and a half. I mean, he was really putting in overtime work there.
Pitchers are athletes, man.
He also has one of the undercover funniest things that he obsessively demands to catch pop-ups, infield flies.
He is addicted to them, just like how Gunnar was addicted to I'll take it myself double plays early in the season, which he hasn't done that now, it seems like, in months. But yeah, Burns wants to make a play. Like, you have to call him off. Like, some pitchers won't even look when it pops it up. Like, I feel like Kimbrel doesn't look at all. He just, I'm off. But you have to box him out. Like, I'm worried that he's gonna call off Mountie one day for a ball. But yeah, the series is very tough.
The pitcher on the Cubs back in the day literally wouldn't leave the mound. I think there was one of the big games in the World Series run. He had a play that he should have made. He just stood there.
I think that whoever wins Game 1, it's going to go a long way, and I think we're going to know a lot from Game 1 of that series. The Orioles have no excuse. Like, baseball is certainly a game, and one of the best scenes of Moneyball is the A's are losing 1 million games in that stretch, and then Billy Beane comes in and shatters the speaker. And do you hear that? That's what losing sounds like. So, that's not, the Orioles are not the A's of their crappy stretch. That movie is embellished in many ways. Whatever, I don't have to get into that. But there's no reason not to show up. There's no reason not to show up and be absolutely dialed to the gills tomorrow in batting practice. The way you're taking grounders, there's going to be massive crowds. It's the middle of summer. The All-Star break is right about to happen. People want baseball. You're going into the break. There is no reason to not be dialed tomorrow, especially offensively. There's no reason not to trot out their most hot hitters. Kerstad. Let's get Ryan O'Hearn in there instead of a fucking James McCann. Let's, stop putzing around. Stick Kerstad in there for the entire Yankee series and see what he can do. They have no reason not to.
You get a week off after. It's literally just, it's found money if you get anything in the series out of shaking things up a little bit. I know, Hyde, I think maybe he gets a little bit too much shit sometimes, but it's deserved lately. And he's got to, like you said, it's time to shake it up. It's time to.
The comment of the stream here, Sterling Rapicelli, little Cade Povich, it's your time. Cade, this is Cade's, this could be his swan song of the season.
What did we say? It's what we said it on the other night. I clipped it. You got to give him a few more shots here, but this is a pretty big freaking spot for little Cade Povich. I mean,
it certainly is. He's been getting frisky in the dugout. He's getting a little comfortable with the boys and things like that. So
I don't know if I like that. I want him to be stoic. I want him to be maybe a little intimidated by all the talent he's surrounded by. I want him to be little Cade Povich, but then go out on the mound.
That's why Crochet would be cool, because he's 8 feet tall and has a big red beard and is a fuck you pitcher. So
that's why I like him so much. He reminds me of a pitcher I grew up watching in the early 2000s. He's just in tatters by the end of the game. He's just going out there and shoving, literally shoving off the mound.
He's Chris Sale. He's a Chris Sale. I'm gonna fucking strike you out, and I don't care. I'm gonna go back in the dugout. He's like Lance Lynn if Lance Lynn wasn't 400 pounds. Lance Lynn has that, like, I'm going to strike you out. I'm going to grab my nuts. I'm going to go to the dugout and I'm going to spit all over the place. I'm going to come back and I'm going to do it again. By the way,
I'm going to cut some jerseys up with a pair of scissors, and everyone's going to be fine.
I hope that Gunnar is like, I just want to say about the Yankees here, I hope Gunnar is like whipping himself right now. I hope he's like sitting in a
little Opus Dei, a little Da Vinci Code.
I hope he's like shattering his stupid fucking Legos somewhere. I hope he's like breaking a Lego thing.
Maybe you know what? Shout out to Chris Sale and the scissors reference. Maybe he took the Lego cleats into the dugout and he's just got to attack them with a pair of scissors.
Trying to rip them like a phone book in his apartment right now. I want Gunnar to come out. I want Gunnar to come out, get ejected game one, get fucking tossed game one.
Well, so again, we talked to Kirsten. You talked about getting new blood in the lineup. Kirstad's going to be in the lineup against Cole. I mean, and early this series they need an early home run. They need a Gunnar home run. They need an Adley home run, a Tony home. Somebody. I need liftoff in the first 2 innings, and preferably like a long lefty, just fucking parking one. And Garrett Cole's going to start sweating, and then he's going to look like he's crying, and the place is going to go nuts. Like
he always looks like that.
I know he's fat this year now too. He's
look
at that tomorrow. He's
put on a little.
Now.
Yeah,
me and Carabas text about it all the time with JJ in our group chat, and we're like, he's going to be the first player to go on the IL with diabetes. Like he's a big boy now, so be on the lookout for that.
I will say this too about the Orioles. I feel like they very much they remind me of the Ravens in a sense that they are very much in the competitive division, digging themselves in. I think they care much more about their matchups with their divisional opponents and winning their divisional series than anything else that occurs throughout the entire regular season. I think that the AL East and the AFC North have some symmetry in that. And I think that the Orioles value their matchups, getting the weaknesses of their divisional opponents, and specifically this year of the Yankees. I think they're locked in on them, and I think that's why we see them sleepwalk through the Cubs a little bit. Getting swept by the Cubs means nothing if you take 2 or 3 from the Yankees.
Spenny's getting back into his Spenny's getting kind of back into the mood. He's taking some vacations, got some weddings going on, but when he gets back into those kind of long form tweets where he's talking philosophically about the Ravens, now it's turning into the Orioles, the juices are flowing. Training camp is just around the corner, and it's like the mind meld between Orioles and Ravens. Spenny, it's going to be unlike anything we've ever seen.
I'm ready. I'm ready for it all. But at the same time, Orioles suck. Screw them. Terrible series. Enjoy baseball still. Go to the Yard this weekend. I do have a stupid wedding this weekend, so I can't make it, as you said. But go for me. Go to the game. These are the games to go to. Heading into the All-Star break, Garrett Cole, Aaron Judge, Juan Soto doing his little shuffle, acting like a prick. Go to these games. Go. Go get down to the Yard this weekend. Go now. Go. Please, God, go. They are primed to attack the Yankees. Go help them. Go scream shit from the outfield at Juan Soto. Go have a big tall beer that costs $47. Go sit in the bird bath. Go do all the fun things. Go. Fill it, pack the Yard in the middle of summer. It's hot as hell. Embrace it. It's a good time to go sweat. It's the middle of summer.
If you go to a game, I guarantee you the boss man, Uncle David, is going to, this is my personal guarantee, he's going to come down to your section wearing a quarter zip in 101-degree weather with a baseball cap on, and he's going to throw a baseball cap to you. That's my personal guarantee. And if it doesn't happen, you can direct all complaints to @Ravens4Dummies, get into their DMs and let them know.
He's gonna be doing the stanky leg on top of the dugout.
Yeah, that's what we need. We need to get Uncle David. I think he really might be the talisman. He might be the totem for this team. When things aren't going well, he's not.
He gives out more hats and more baseballs the worse they play.
Is he? Yeah. Is he a little bit of a front runner? I think like what we needed was him in this series, walking around just strutting his stuff, kind of dancing around and throwing hats around, and like the Orioles are losing 9-2. It's like, hey Dave, like. What are we doing here?
He'll be in town. Go see Uncle David. I got to go watch Love Island. I'm going to leave you guys. Love you, boys.
All right. Say hi to Maya Jama for me.
He was trying to end it without.
Yeah, at least he didn't actually end the stream this time. That's good. Okay. Well, anything else on the big bad Yankees?
No, again, I mean, I just tweeted what we said. Like I wanted to get tense. I wanted to get nasty. I want the blood flowing, and kind of this is your kind of shit or get off the pot. You gotta get something going. And again, they were lifeless. Hyde kind of said the same thing after the game. He just said, talked about, said they didn't play well at all. He said, we're a good team and we know it, credit to them. We're a good team. It's been a rough few days. We just got flat out beaten, didn't play well. We got beat by starters. We didn't do much against our bullpen. We didn't play very good defense for us, and we didn't throw the ball very well. Again, they, flat out said they sucked. So yeah. I hope, this is kind of a wake-up call. And again, it's like, the sweep sucks. They lost 5 games in a row a couple weeks ago, and that seemed like the end of the world, but this somehow seems worse. So
I just got a push notification. I just got a push notification from MLB. The headline is OMG in all caps, and then it says, "Have you ever seen an ending to a game like this before?" ? Exclamation point, question mark.
I told you it was nuts. It was crazy. If you haven't seen it, go on Twitter and watch it.
Yeah, there's a crazy event happening. Get on x.com and see if you can
it was wild.
See if you can root it out.
It was crazy, but again, you're up 2 games. Like Spenny said, that's perfect. You take 2 out of 3, this series never happened. So that's about all you can say. I'll be there tomorrow, and I'm nervous, but that like kind of excited nervous. Like I think, hopefully them smacking Cole around would be fantastic.
You can feel it coming in the air tonight?
I think I can. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess that's all we got. I think we're all taked out here. Who would have thought that we would have gone over an hour, recapping what's probably going to be the most forgettable 3 games of this entire season. I mean,
some would say.
Yeah, some would say. A good talk, though. I think we vented very well, and I expect the Orioles to turn it around here against the Yankees. If they don't, that would be terrible. That would be bad vibes to take into the All-Star break. So let's not even put that energy out there. But appreciate everyone hanging in the chat with us. Running a little over 1,200 people right now. That's great stuff. Thanks for everyone who listened on the VOD, listened on the podcast formats. We appreciate that very much. If you want to support us, go ahead and hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Like all the videos, comment on all of them, get that algorithm pumping. Subscribe on your podcast feed of choice if that is how you do it. Find us on social media at Exit52 Podcast across Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. I am at Jake Louque. That's LOUQUE. Eric is at EDITTI22. Spenny is at Ravens4Dummies. That's the number 4. You can find Taylor, who's hanging in the comments with us tonight, at Taylor Smythe 10, and Banks at Barstool Banks. Thanks again for listening, guys. We'll be back at you on Sunday night. Until then, have yourselves a great weekend.